Resident Evil 9's latest DLC, pretty bluntly, is really bad. And it's not just bad in a way where we can toss it aside and move on and hope for more later. I think it kind of exposes the main game and how weak it is in a variety of aspects. But before we get into that, if you like my content, leave a comment, like the video, and subscribe to the channel. It really does mean a lot to me that you're here watching my content. And this is my review of Leon Must Die Forever. First off, I'd like to say that my favorite DLC package for any game ever is Resident Evil 7. I love the wacky game modes like the Weird 21 and Jack's 55th birthday party. The story expansions of End of Zoe and Daughters that play differently from those previously mentioned. And finally, the cherry on the top is the roguelike game mode Ethan Must Die. All of these really show off different ways why Resident Evil 7 is a gem of a game. The gameplay loop is pretty fun and it's tuned well enough that keeps you coming back for more. It offers just enough replay value through unlockables in the game modes and unlocking trophies. The addition of the story modes of Daughters, which acts like a prologue, and an End of Zoe that acts like an epilogue for her character arc, wraps up questions that were not answered in the main game. Ethan Must Die shows us how well designed the game is. Everything really connected to each other in the game world of 7. And you add in some actual randomization of enemy placement and item placement with the boxes that could either have a weapon or one of Luke's bomb that will end your run. And on top of that, Ethan Must Die has that one single ingredient that every roguelike has: one more run. Every run makes you feel like this is the run and it keeps you coming back. I remember when Resident Evil 7 launched Ethan Must Die, streamers would open it up and just take a few spins, then go on and play whatever game they were going to stream that day. It was just long enough of a run that kept you coming back to try to get a better run. Enemy placements were just right that kept tension. Ammo placements were few and far between that your run could end with a single missed bullet. It was a damn near perfect game mode that encapsulates an invigorated Capcom needing to deliver something great. Enter Leon Must Die Forever. Now, to be upfront, I am happy that Capcom is not just pushing another Mercs mode in the game. However, I feel like we just kind of fall short with Leon Must Die, and it really doesn't provide anything, so let's break down why. In my initial run, I noticed something that stuck out like a sore thumb. Outside of a few rooms, it feels like you're just playing the main game. Enemy placement and even Leon's dialogue is the same as the main game. But just wait, you can purchase different dialogue for 200 CP. However, I couldn't discern what was the new dialogue. He just kept on saying the same stuff that he said in the main game. So you're just kind of doing a weird speedrun of the main campaign, and it really doesn't feel any different. Outside of a few different enemy placements, it doesn't even really change from the run to run. I tested this out in my first 3 runs where I ran to the care center to get the Requiem, and the Butcher was there in the same spot every single time. So from run to run, it doesn't feel like a roguelite. The placements don't change. It's basically the main game. Is that it? Not in the slightest. I think this game mode also exposes RE9's lack of enemy variety. If we were to look at 7, the Molded provided just enough enemy type through its 4 enemy types, and they were distributed in a way that really made it feel like it stand on its own. Resident Evil 9 really only has zombies. Outside of a section that has some lickers, it would have been a prime opportunity to introduce like hunters, spiders, whatever, to spice it up and have more randomization. Even in something like RE4 Mercs, there's enough enemy variety to keep you playing. Just to have zombies and only the chef pursuer was kind of a missed opportunity. I was wondering if we were going to have a fight with Xeno, but the map you load into the game the first time just kind of shoots that down, and it's just kind of a bummer. I was looking through the care center to see if I could find Chunk, and he's not there. It just feels stale because the main game from 9 really only has zombies and some lickers. I think this is a huge missight because Resident Evil has some cool creatures to pull from. And on top of that, I think the level design also takes a hit here. Now, everything doesn't have to be connected to make a great Resident Evil game like 7, But there's something off about Resident Evil 9's level design. I couldn't help but think back to the original game where you only solve the same puzzle a few times with Grace and you head down to the basement, then you escape, and then you're in East Raccoon, and then you're looking for some pieces for a radio. Everything just feels super linear. There's no backtracking. There's never a moment where you have to solve a puzzle A to solve puzzle B that leads you to where you want to be. And I just think that shows how linear the DLC is. In Ethan Must Die, everything felt different because the enemy placement was different. Your route through everything was different. It never felt like you were playing the main game even though you were in the same areas. I also think the gameplay got exposed here, and I brought it up in my review for 9. The game is not really that great feeling in third person. It's not as snappy as any of the remakes, and Leon and Grace feel sluggish and move slower in third person. And if you remember, Leon was intended to play in third person, so I played that with in mind, and it's not crisp. It's an action game mode, and it's not kinetic feeling, which is crazy to think about because Pragmata was released a month later, and that has one of my favorite, most kinetic third-person action games I've ever played. Then coming back to RE9 after playing Pragmata, it just feels really sluggish. On top of the sluggish gameplay, we have some modifiers that we have access to that allow you to kind of manipulate your build in a way. However, I feel like they just made the game super easy because all I did was just stack the weapon mods for the weapons I had, and I was taking down enemies with a few rounds, and Victor became a cakewalk. And in addition to that, you just get so much ammo that you're never really in a desperate situation to continue the run. I was discarding ammo to pick up other ammo rounds. That should never be the situation. There was never any tension in the gameplay, which leads back to the gameplay loop of me never wanting to try to beat my high score. That kind of wraps it up for me. All in all, I'm really bummed that Capcom hasn't really learned any lessons since Resident Evil 7. Leon Must Die just feels like a really weak copy and paste from the main game, and it isn't fun, because the main game wasn't that fun. The replay value of both is non-existent, which is insane because that's what Capcom used to excel at, especially in the Resident Evil series. Look at what was packed in the original Resident Evil games and what was in 4. Look at what's included with Pragmata with all the VR missions and all the stuff that you have to do to unlock the true ending. All of that's missing here. And before you say it's free, it's not, because you had to buy Resident Evil 9 and you have to beat the game in order to play this, which is weird because it just feels like the main game again. Capcom just took splices from the game and put health bars over every enemy, and here we are eating slop at this point from them. I feel like Capcom has really lost the passion with Resident Evil. The remakes feel formulaic. 8 and 9 were steps backwards. There's no inspiration. This is crazy to say because the Resident Evil modders show more inspiration with their ideas and game modes. And you'd think that the better ideas would come from the cooks in the kitchen, but here we are waiting for modders to fix Resident Evil 3 remake and probably gonna fix this DLC too with some actual randomization. I hope there's a lesson here that Capcom sees because I think this stems from Capcom turning out Resident Evil content every single year. There's no time for anything to simmer and let ideas come together. But that's not me just criticizing to hate. I love Resident Evil, and I know what Capcom is capable of when they show effort because Resident Evil has been around for 30 years. There's not many franchises that can say that. But that's what I have to say about Leon Must Die. Let me know what you think of the game. Did you like it or do you agree with me? Let me know down in the comments, and while you're there, like the video and subscribe to the channel. It means the world to me, and I'll see you in the next video.